All right, we're back. BarstoolBuddhas. I'm Chai.
Rip.
Yeah, and so you might notice we haven't been around, the both of us, for about 6 weeks. Rip's been off being some kind of athletic supporter for the football and all that, and I've done a couple of Barstool bits by myself. And,
they've been good.
Yeah, they look like I'm practicing for some kind of eulogy somewhere on the black screen. But so we're back with some stuff, and if you like it, like, subscribe, notify, all that kind of stuff. Give us some comments. We don't have a lot of subs, as they say, but that probably keeps us from being attacked on the street. But that works too. But if you do look at it, even if you don't like it, do the thumbs down, whatever you want to do. Some comment is always good.
Yeah, feedback.
So there's been so much go on since you and I talked that it would be almost impossible to catch up. So we'll just kind of ramble on about our topics today and just kind of a free-form kind of thing and see what comes out. Does that work?
Yeah, works for me.
So what show would be complete without our favorite person, Mr. Joe Biden, President of the United States? Moron emeritus. But we've got a new title. We have promoted Joe. Since all the hard work he did in Afghanistan and at the UN and at the border, we have promoted him to enemy number one.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had anybody since Benedict Arnold who had such a negative effect on this country. To say that he's asleep at the wheel would be to insult the wheel. And well, the cherry on this week for me was when he stood up at the UN and, he made his mumbling, grumbling sounds. And then he comes out and says, the United States is through with war.
We're done.
And China just cranking out aircraft carriers and building up more fake islands and looking to do war games around Taiwan. And, of course, now Afghanistan's got their own formal military.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're
well-equipped, well-armed.
And we're bombing babies over there.
Mm-hmm.
And, mistake, whatever.
Mistakes happen, but
you just got the Cobra, and he's doing this, and you walk and go, and you go, I don't think you'll bite me because we're not really into biting now.
Don't slap the Cobra.
Don't slap the Cobra.
Don't poke the bear.
Don't poke, and never, ever point a gun at a cop. Simple shit. Forget your politics. The physics of it ought to keep you away from it. So, he's my God, I think the only thing that keeps him in power is the fact that people are terrified of Kamala Harris.
Oh, God.
That would be. Oh, my God, that laugh. Oh, my God. It's just like, it reminds me of Heath Ledger in the Joker role.
Mm-hmm.
It has that same sort of
nails on a chalkboard. I'd rather have nails on a chalkboard than listen to her.
Oh, my God. Anyway, we won't go down that rabbit hole too far.
Pull out.
Yeah.
Make like Nixon and pull out.
Oh, my God. So, anyhow, and probably many people have already done that with her. So,
this was a mistake. Back up.
Yeah. So, but we wanted to kind of talk about Australia a little bit.
It's an interesting place. Used to be a great country.
Used to be a great democracy. Now they're actually got people under house arrest and electronically tracing everybody. I heard if you don't respond within 15 minutes when you're randomly selected, if you're moving and can't prove where you are, they're coming to get you and take you to one of their new camps, which are not concentration camps, but they are, and for your protection. Now, this is what's interesting about Australia. This is a number I heard the other day. They got 25 million people in Australia. You want to guess how many people have died from COVID? As of the date I checked, 1,100 people in almost 2 years out of 25 million, and they have absolutely locked down that country.
0.00000 and all down the road somewhere.
And they're very proud of that fact that they're keeping people from dying. Well, you know what? They buried them in their house. They're not legally dead yet, but they're working on it. And so I have a friend, or, my wife has a friend that actually works over there. And she's a nurse, and they're short of nurses, but she can't go across the state border to the nearest hospital to help people because you can't go across the borders. That's how insane this is.
Yep.
So,
but rubber bullets don't kill.
get hit in the eye with one of them, see what happens to you. So anyway, the point about Australia is if you think that's just happening over there,
it's coming to a city near you.
There's some insanity ramping up here. I heard the other day that United Airlines was, and this is only hearsay, I didn't have to do it.
Back to checking temperatures?
Checking temperatures to get on an airplane. One of the safest places to be with the air changes, whatever. And they're really pushing hard to make sure you got a vaccine to get on the airplane. Which brings up the next little thing that we were going to talk about is that vaccine mandate's about to kick in for all federally funded and entities, federal government stuff.
Except Congress is exempt from it.
Congress is exempt
and
from
the
it.
U.S. Postal Service.
And anybody crossing the border illegal.
Oh, yeah, they get carte blanche. Yeah.
So the thing that bothers me about that is I know in my industry we have some highly trained people that cannot be replaced. And a shortage of those people because they won't take it if there's a number of them, a percentage. And I would say, I'm not in that part of my company, so I don't know. But I would say that somebody's making some plans for a number of those people not going to work. Because, again, they've let private industry decide what your freedoms are because they're private property, so they can say you can't come on board. And I kind of agree with the hospital thing in a way. But they've had precautions now for a year and a half, almost 2 years. And, you go in, you socially distance, you gown up, you wear the mask and everything. And I haven't heard of a lot of problems with that.
Right.
I've been in and out of that. But you're going to lose a lot of people who won't go in these hospitals. Yeah. It's like, so instead of your favorite restaurant not being able to serve you, your favorite hospital may not let you in because they don't have staff to take care of you. And they're going to blame it on the great unwashed, unvaccinated. Oh, yeah. And but that's coming up real quick.
But these are people in the medical field some of them are deciding they do not want the shot.
I've met several people in the last month or so who are leaving. They didn't really voice that, but they're getting out. They say it's just getting too crazy and they can't deal with it. So that's going to be a big, big problem. And then you've got, we'll jump this next thing and we'll talk about the BLM thing. Mm-hmm. So the thing that happened in New York last week at Carmine's. 3 ladies went in. They showed a vaccine stamp. They sat down. Their boyfriends or other significant others came. They came in. They made them leave because they didn't have it. Then they claimed the 3 women had fake certificates. A brawl ensued. And the next day, BLM is on the front porch trying to shut them down, saying that the vaccine mandates are racist. Yeah. So now here's another divisive moment. You've got, for whatever reason, a large number of people of color. Is that correct today? I can't keep up. I don't mean anything wrong to anybody. People who are non-white. Okay, let's talk about it. Right? Non-white, whatever it takes.
We're all people of color.
We all know what
White
we're talking
is a color.
about. We all know what we're talking about. Anyway, they've decided that for whatever reason, they don't want to take the vaccine. A large segment of that population is unvaccinated and does not want to be vaccinated. Mm-hmm. So because they are a certain ethnic group, they've decided it's racist.
Everything's turned into racism.
It's all racist. But here's the thing. Then you've got our favorite race baiter, Mr. Don Lemon, on CNN, a gorgeous little black man, pumping his venom through the airwaves, is screaming that anybody that doesn't get a vaccine should be
left behind,
shunned. You just wait in line for your medical treatment. You're causing all of this pain.
Shouldn't be treated if you haven't had the shot.
Shouldn't. So, but you know what? That drives me crazy. Here's arguably a big spokesman for the black community.
Yeah.
Saying that if you don't have the vaccine, they just leave you behind, which is exactly part of what racism would do to a certain group of people, whoever they are.
Exactly.
You separate them, you denigrate them, you don't give them what they need. The very thing that the black people in this country have been fighting since they got here. Yeah. It's insane. And then the other group says that vaccines are racist. None of this is making any sense. Yeah. The inmates are not only running the asylum, they're writing the damn rules now. So this is only a few of the fractures we see happening. And the thing is, there's a bigger picture here. Mm-hmm. You look across the globe, the people in France, the people in England, the people everywhere are rioting in the streets. Like we said, Australia, they rioted in the streets and they're shooting them with rubber bullets. Oh, yeah. I don't know if they're using gas on them. I would suspect that they probably will at some point. It's what you do when you control people, water cannons, the whole bit. Mm-hmm. But these are people, by and large, in democracies And, and I said on the Barstool bits last week that the leaders in a democracy serve at the pleasure and the will of the populace. It is not the other way around. Mm-hmm. They're not divinely ordained.
Yeah.
They're not placed in by military coup.
Well, except Joe Biden was absolutely famous for telling a worker that I don't work for you. So that tells you all you need to know right there.
Yeah. So the dangerous thing is
president. Take
the big view. This is the people in England and even France in Spain, France, Europe, they're all tired of it. Society's starting to fracture over this. And it's going to become a battle between the government and you. And you know what? You supposedly are the government in a democracy. And it's turning into something else.
Oh, yeah. It's giving them power.
It's going to get ugly. And it's like Joe said, and Joe's got the nuclear weapons. He's not worried about the militias and the rednecks with their shotguns. I got the people. Well, he got some of the people.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's discouraging. So, and I want to go back to our old friend, Dr. Fauci.
Oh, God.
I was talking to a guy this week, and he called him the fourth horseman of the apocalypse.
The pale rider.
Yeah, this guy's from somewhere outside of Wartburg, and he's steeped deeply in the Southern tradition of believing everything that's in the book of Revelation. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I'm starting to see some shit in there that I think might be true. And
the signs.
the signs are here. But, Fauci, I don't know if he's the fourth horseman or he's Judas to the human race. This guy, my opinion, is that he could quite possibly be one of the biggest traitors to the human race.
He's sold out.
I think he had a hand in this, and I think it's driving him to be try to be in a position of the great savior, the great grandpa guiding us through it.
What's the syndrome we were talking about earlier?
There's
Munchausen?
There's a syndrome called Munchausen by proxy. It's a psychological disorder whereby you take a mother who injures her baby and then pretends to be the savior and the healer and whatever. It's a real screwed up kind of thing. But I look at him, and when he talks, and then the stuff that comes through on TV about these reports and all this stuff going on, I kind of get to thinking like that.
Yep.
Yeah, he beat the baby, and now he's telling everybody he's going to heal the baby. Yep. So I don't trust this guy. I think for a lot of us, I'll speak for myself, and maybe you,
absolutely,
a couple of people that don't want to be on camera. We don't trust you, Dr. Fauci. Why don't you step aside? Why don't you take your? Did I ever tell you that he makes more as a federal employee than any other federal employee in the United States? Yep. And he's a non-elected official. His business interests lie all over this virus and any other virus that's come along. He's the guy. Yeah. He, for all intents and purposes right now, he's probably as powerful, if not more powerful, than the President of the United States and a lot of the leaders of these countries. Because when he opens his mouth, things change. People get mandated to do this, that, and the other. And I, for one, don't feel comfortable with that guy guiding my life.
Laws are being passed on his advice.
And it's a mess. So we've gone through this a lot before, but it's like it's getting really. People are wearing out. They're wearing thin, and so that could be a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because when people get so tired of something, one of two things happen: they get violent, or they shut down.
Right.
And I think we're seeing a lot of that on both sides. People just quit going to work, hoping for another handout, or. And I don't want to say this happened in Memphis, but the vendor for the Kroger went in and shot 12 people, killed a person. Whatever happened, it tripped his switch. He had too much. And,
a lot of people are starting to lose their minds, really losing their minds.
And I think you're going to start seeing that more and more. And because people are fracturing into their units, and what'll happen is individuals will start going out and they'll quit their job or they'll kill somebody or whatever it is they're going to do. Yeah. But then you're going to get groups like the BLM is a good example of that, and Antifa. They're already staging their program and following through. So it's a sign of splintering in society.
Right.
And it's going to go violent if it doesn't stop. And the longer this goes on, the worse it's going to be. And that's just my opinion, but that's what I'm piecing together. And it's not just America, friends. It's not just
around the globe now.
It is around the globe. Even in Thailand, they've had some, everywhere, they've had some pushback.
Yeah.
People are trying to go in the streets and say, we've had enough, we've had enough. And what I think is going to trigger some real problems in our country in the 2022 elections.
Mm-hmm. It's going to get interesting.
One of two scenarios. People get out and they really do vote, and something happens and the vote is questionable.
Again.
Status quo continues.
Yep.
I'm not saying it's a measurement sheet, but I'm saying if people go out and vote in record numbers and they say they're voting for freedom from all this and it doesn't happen,
right?
When you leave a populace without recourse, nasty things happen. And I think you're seeing that in some of the other countries in the world already. And that would be pretty bad. Or the light at the end of the tunnel is we all have an election and we make some changes, but California's a good example. That didn't happen. Governor Newsom, 65%.
Gruesome Newsom.
Yeah. You know what? I'm sorry, California. If that was a legitimate election, then whatever happens to you now, you
voted for it.
You asked for it. Yep. So, okay, that's democracy.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
But in Canada, Mr. Trudeau, he won by a slight majority in the polls, but he's a minority in the way they do business up there. They have a coalition power, but he lost a lot of power. I was shocked that he actually got reelected because I know people in Canada, and I haven't heard one of them that actually likes him. I think Toronto keeps him in.
That's probably it.
Yeah. So, but you're seeing this around the country now, around the world, where people are voting, and not much is changing. Not much is changing. But what there is some hope is I start seeing some of these countries where they're starting to relax some of this. England is one of they're relaxing things because the population is getting so vocal. Right. And they're mobilizing. And like I said, the business aspect is looking really bad. Yeah. And you got to put people back to work. Yes. If you want to control them, the tried and true method that works the best, keep them fat, dumb, and happy. And none of that is happening right now. It's not happening.
Fat, dumb, and happy pay taxes.
They do. And so, we can't solve any of these problems. But our advice this week is to look around, not so much the news. You're going to hear the news. You're going to hear people talking about the news. Listen to what your people around you are saying about their lives. Right. Try to gauge the temperature of your community. We've talked about community before. Your workplace. There's a certain pall that's settling on society. And it's being caused by these things that are going on, but also the people are reacting to it. And I think how people are reacting and starting to settle into it is a better indicator of what's really going on than Chris Cuomo or Don Lemon or any of those people, anybody on either side of the news.
Looks like another Cuomo's gotten caught with his hand in his pants or somebody else's pants, it looks like.
Yeah, well.
Runs in the family, apparently.
I guess. But, they're hot-blooded Italians. What do you want to do? Well, there was no pizza. What was I supposed to do? I'm waiting on the pizza. What do I got to do? Well, Fredo. Well, you know what? Let's be fair to Fredo there. He'll probably hunt me down and shoot me, but he did send emails after that. He did apologize. He did. He apologized right after it happened. So, I question the motive of this person 16 years later. Yeah. I do. If it was that horrible and that traumatic, they should have said something then. Yeah. And
agreed.
And so, doesn't excuse what he did, but he did apologize. And apparently, he never had that interaction with that person again. So, that's part of the cancel culture that I don't like. There's no way that you can atone for any sin you've ever committed. You must be summarily executed. And if any body part is still living, they may allow you to live in some form or fashion as a shamed human being for the rest of your life. It's the mob is awful. But like I said, when it comes to I still think I'm a human being when I can find something fair to say about Cuomo. I'm trying real hard.
There's still forgiveness in the world, but practice very little nowadays.
And again, we're only hearing one side of the story.
True.
And that's the way the mob works. Yeah. If you look at media these days, that's exactly what's going on. So anyway, that's a lot of stuff, and I don't know that we need to say much else this week. That'll confuse people, but we need to do this every week. We kind of lose the habit, But you got anything else?
Nah, sounds good.
Okay, so you're going to go out and watch the game today?
Yes.
Yeah. You're going to the stadium's not here today.
Nope.
You're going to do an away game.
It's an away game.
So you're going to have to watch it through the filter of a beer glass.
Exactly.
What was it you asked me if they thought they had a chance at all?
Yeah, and it was.
Well, statistically, there might be a small percentage of possibility. Would you say the other team could get explosive diarrhea?
Yeah.
But given the team that is, I'll probably think they'll probably shit their way into the end zone. I don't think there's much a chance of anything other than that happening. I just hope we get away without a lot of injuries.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Hope nobody gets hurt.
Well, I think that's it for this time, and we'll try to be more regular, which is what a lot of the people in the medical industry say is the key to good health.
There you go.
So we'll see you next time.
Hard out.
Bye.